All right, let's dive into something pretty fascinating today and maybe a little intense.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring Chinnamasta, one of the Mahavidyas.
Uh-huh.
You might have never heard of Mahavidyas before,
Right.
but trust me, this is captivating stuff.
It really is.
So,
Yeah, they're this group of 10 powerful goddesses in Hindu scriptures embodying different aspects of reality
right.
and cosmic energy. And let me tell you, they're often depicted in ways that can seem pretty well shocking.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw an image of Chinnamasta, I was like, how can this be a goddess?
Right.
I mean, she's standing on a loving couple, self-decapitated, drinking her own blood,
Mm-hmm.
with others joining in.
Yeah.
It's definitely not your typical goddess imagery.
No, it's definitely meant to challenge our preconceptions.
Right.
You see, Chinnamasta isn't about serene beauty or gentle guidance.
Yeah.
She's raw power. She's
Ah.
transformation. She's the kind of energy that makes you confront the depths of existence.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with the self-decapitation.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot to process visually, let alone symbolically.
Right.
What's the deeper meaning there?
It's all about transcending the ego.
Okay.
Think about it. Our heads, our faces, they become our identity, right? We're constantly looking in mirrors, worried about how we appear to the world.
Yeah.
Chinnamasta cuts right through all that, literally.
So it's like she's saying to truly awaken spiritually,
Right.
you've got to move beyond this superficial self-identification.
Exactly.
We literally spend so much time obsessing over our heads.
Yeah.
There's a deeper point here about letting go, isn't there?
Exactly. She's showing us that the path to true liberation involves a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to shed the limitations of the ego. And it's not just about the head.
Yeah.
It's about everything we cling to, our desires, our attachments, all the things that keep us bound to the material world.
Now let's talk about the couple she's standing on.
Okay.
Kama, the god of love,
Mm-hmm.
and Rati, the goddess of pleasure. They represent creation life force.
Right.
So what's the message here? Is she destroying those energies?
It's not about destruction, it's about transmutation.
Okay.
Chinnamasta is standing on those forces, yes, but she's also channeling them, transforming them into something higher.
Yeah.
It's this incredible image of the cycle of creation and destruction, but also of transcendence.
So she's taking the raw energy of creation, the life force itself, and using it as fuel for spiritual transformation.
Precisely. And this ties into another fascinating aspect of her iconography,
Okay.
the 3 streams of blood.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely hard to miss.
Yeah.
Pretty intense imagery.
Right.
So what's the symbolism there?
Those streams represent the nadis, Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna, which are energy channels in yogic traditions.
Okay.
Think of them like pathways for Kundalini energy, which is this potent spiritual force that resides within us.
So is she harnessing this Kundalini energy?
Yes.
What's happening with those 3 streams?
The central stream representing Sushumna flows into her own mouth. It's a powerful image of self-nourishment, of being sustained by this awakened energy. And the other 2 streams are flowing towards her companions, nourishing them as well.
Interesting. So she's not just taking in this energy for herself, she's sharing it with others.
Yeah.
Who are these companions and what's their significance?
They're often depicted as Dakini and Varini.
Okay.
Though their identities can vary depending on the specific image, sometimes they're seen as emanations of Chinnamasta herself, other times as devoted attendants who have reached a certain level of spiritual realization.
So they're benefiting from her awakened energy, from her transformation. It's like she's sharing the fruits of her own spiritual journey.
Exactly. And it's important to note that Chinnamasta is strongly associated with tantric practices,
Yeah.
especially Vamachara, which is often called the left-hand path.
Now, Vamachara is often considered taboo, shrouded in mystery. It involves practices that challenge social norms, right?
It does.
What can you tell us about that without, getting too esoteric?
Well, Vamachara often involves using things that are typically considered taboo things that push us out of our comfort zones as tools for spiritual transformation.
Right.
It's not about indulging in these things for their own sake,
Yeah.
but about using them in very specific ways to break down our preconceptions and confront our shadows.
So it's about using those things that make us uncomfortable, that we might even fear, as a way to break free from our limitations and access a deeper level of spiritual understanding.
Exactly. And one of the key elements of Vamachara is the use of the Panchmakaras, which are 5 M's.
Okay.
Madhyama, Mansamachi Mudra, and Maithuna.
Okay, now that's getting into some pretty intense territory.
It is.
I mean, these are all things that are often surrounded by a lot of social and religious
Yeah.
taboos.
Yeah.
How do they fit into the picture with Chinnamasta?
Well, it gets even more interesting when you consider the fact that she's standing on the god and goddess of love, while also being associated with this left-hand path that often emphasizes brahmacharya.
Wait, brahmacharya, isn't that usually interpreted as celibacy? How does that fit in with a goddess who's all about em embracing and transmuting these powerful primal energies, including sexual energy? That seems like a contradiction.
It's not a contradiction at all. It's about understanding the deeper meaning of brahmacharya, which isn't simply about abstaining from sex. It's about mastering those energies, about channeling them towards a higher purpose. It's about recognizing that these energies, including sexual energy, are incredibly powerful forces, and instead of suppressing them or letting them run wild, we can learn to harness them to direct them towards our spiritual growth.
So it's like Chinnamasta saying, don't be afraid of these powerful forces within you.
Yeah.
Learn to work with them to transform them into something that can fuel your spiritual journey.
Exactly. And this concept of transmutation is really key to understanding her. It's not about denying our desires or trying to become something we're not. It's about acknowledging those desires, those primal urges, and then consciously choosing how we engage with them.
That makes sense. Like she's showing us a path of radical self-acceptance, but also of radical responsibility.
Yep.
We can't just blame our desires for our actions. We have the power to choose how we respond to them, how we use that energy.
Right. And this brings us back to the connection between Chinnamasta and Vamachara. The left-hand path is all about working with these raw, often taboo energies in a way that can be truly transformative.
But it's not for everyone, right?
Right.
I mean, working with those Panchmakaras, those 5 M's you mentioned,
Yeah.
that's serious stuff. It requires a lot of guidance, a lot of discipline, I imagine.
Absolutely. It's not something to be taken lightly. These practices are powerful and they can be dangerous if not approached with the right understanding and preparation. In fact, there are very specific lineages and traditions within Tantra that work with these practices, and they emphasize the importance of initiation and guidance from qualified guru.
So it's not like you just read a book and decide to start experimenting with these things on your own. There's a whole system of knowledge and practice that needs to be respected.
Exactly. It's about understanding the depth and complexity of these practices and recognizing that they're not just about personal gratification or pushing boundaries. They're about using these powerful tools to dismantle the ego, to break free from our limitations, and to experience a deeper level of reality.
Now, speaking of experiencing a deeper level of reality, you mentioned earlier that Chinnamasta is often invoked in very specific situations. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yes, she's often seen as a deity of last resort, invoked in situations where other approaches have failed. People might turn to her when facing extreme challenges, when they need a powerful force to help them overcome obstacles or break through limitations.
So she's not exactly the goddess you'd call upon for, good luck finding your keys.
Probably not. Her energy is incredibly intense, and it's associated with what's called triple power in her mantras and rituals.
Triple power, that sounds well powerful.
It signifies her ability to cut through obstacles, to remove negativity, and to grant boons to her devotees. But again, it's not something to be taken lightly. Working with her energy requires a certain level of spiritual maturity and understanding.
So it's not just about asking for what you want. It's about being prepared to receive it, to handle the intensity of her energy.
Precisely. And this is where the legends surrounding Chinnamasta become really interesting. They offer glimpses into her nature, her power, and the kind of transformation she represents.
Okay, let's hear a story. What kind of legends are we talking about?
One of the most popular stories tells of Chinnamasta's incredible compassion and self-sacrifice. She was traveling with her 2 companions, Dakini and Varini, when they became incredibly thirsty.
Okay. I'm guessing there wasn't a conveniently placed vending machine nearby.
Nope, they were in a desolate area and there was no water to be found. Her companions were growing weaker by the minute, and Chinnamasta, filled with compassion, decided to offer them her own blood to quench their thirst.
Wait, she literally decapitated herself to save her companions.
Yes. It's a powerful image of her willingness to go to any lengths to help others, even to the point of self-sacrifice. It shows her boundless compassion, her willingness to give everything for the well-being of those who are devoted to her.
Wow, okay, that's definitely intense, but I have to ask, is this meant to be taken literally?
Like most mythology, it's open to interpretation. You can read it as a literal event, but more importantly, it's a symbolic representation of the transformative power of selflessness. It's about recognizing that true spiritual growth involves moving beyond our own egocentric concerns and embracing a wider perspective.
So it's not about encouraging actual self-harm, but about understanding the depth of her compassion and the power of selflessness on a spiritual level.
Exactly. And this legend also ties back to that concept of transmutation we've been discussing.
Right. She's literally transforming her own life force into something that can nourish and sustain others. It's a powerful image of turning even the most challenging situations into opportunities for growth and transformation.
And that transformation isn't just outward, it's inward as well. Chinnamasta teaches us to confront the darker, more challenging aspects of ourselves, our fears, our desires, our attachments, and to transmute them into sources of spiritual power.
You know, it strikes me that there's a lot of talk these days about shadow work, about facing our inner demons, and integrating those parts of ourselves that we might try to hide or deny. It seems like Chinnamasta is a powerful archetype for that kind of inner work.
Absolutely. She's not just a goddess to be worshipped from afar. She's a powerful symbol of the transformative potential that lies within each of us.
And she's definitely not afraid to show us the messy, intense, even shocking side of that transformation.
Exactly. She's a reminder that the path to spiritual liberation isn't always pretty or comfortable. It requires us to confront our shadows, to embrace our power, and to be willing to let go of everything that's holding us back.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little breathless after all that.
Yeah.
Chinnamasta is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
She really challenges us to expand our understanding of divinity, doesn't it's not always about serenity and light. Sometimes it's about raw power transformation and confronting the depths of our own being.
So for our listeners who are maybe just starting to explore these concepts, what are some key takeaways about Chinnamasta? What makes her unique among the Mahavidyas?
Well, I think the first thing to remember is that she's not about shock value for its own sake. Her imagery is intense, yes, but it's meant to provoke us, to make us think differently about ourselves and the universe.
It's like she's holding up a mirror and saying, look, this is reality. This is the raw power of existence. Are you ready to face it?
Exactly. She's not about sugarcoating things or offering easy answers. She's about confronting our fears, our desires, our attachments, and using those things as fuel for spiritual transformation.
And it seems like that transformation is really about self-realization, isn't it? It's about understanding our own potential, both the light and the shadow.
Absolutely. Chinnamasta isn't just an external deity to be worshipped. She's an archetype, a reflection of the powerful forces that exist within each of us. And by contemplating her imagery, her legends, her teachings, we can start to tap into those forces within ourselves.
It's like she's saying, don't be afraid of your power. Don't be afraid of the darkness. Embrace it all and use it to fuel your evolution.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important message for all of us, regardless of our spiritual background or beliefs. We all have these powerful energies within us, and it's up to us to choose how we engage with them.
So for someone who's feeling drawn to Chinnamasta, but also maybe a bit intimidated by her intensity, what advice would you give them?
I'd say approach her with respect, with humility, and with a genuine desire for self-understanding. Don't try to force anything. Don't try to control the experience. Just be open to what she has to teach you.
And remember, transformation isn't always easy or comfortable. It can be messy, challenging, even painful at times, but it's through those challenges that we grow, that we evolve.
Exactly. And if you're truly committed to the path of self-realization, Chinnamasta can be an incredible guide and teacher.
Well, I think that's a powerful note to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, explored some deep and sometimes challenging concepts, but I hope our listeners have come away with a sense of the incredible depth and power that Chinnamasta represents.
And I hope they're inspired to continue exploring these fascinating mysteries, to delve deeper into their own inner worlds, and discover the transformative potential that lies within.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling inspired to learn more, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this deep dive with your fellow seekers. And don't forget to check out our other deep dives on Tantra Quest, where we explore the hidden dimensions of consciousness and the mysteries of the universe.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep embracing the transformative power that lies within you.